the lights down a little bit.
Yeah, you can.
No.
Yeah, put it down. A little bit lower. Okay. What is that next to us? Can we move that out the way?
Oh, yes.
There we go. Or can we plug that up too? Plug it up. Be careful what you cut. Is it live?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know we was live already. You should have said something.
Say something.
Something. Well, hello everybody. Welcome is what I'll say. Welcome, welcome, welcome everybody. Anybody listening, watching, replaying, whatever you may be doing. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're glad to have you. Just setting up here, trying to make sure our equipment is right. Got some new lighting. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Shout out to um I'm gonna get back with you on that. But we got some shout outs to give actually. I'm gonna hold that for later. Because we got some shout outs to give. Um, definitely shout out to TR Technology and um, okay,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
Valley Live now, eh?
Hey, well, I'm just making sure, trying to verify the lighting here. Excuse me. We got the big comfy couch, yo. Late night live, late night live. Come on, all right, Yanni, get late night live. You know, I don't think you can. You tall enough to get in this one, honey. It's okay. We'll put you in anyway. Late night live. Yanni said all these lights though. Why don't you come over here, sweetheart? Why you want? You like to be right in the center of the action, don't you? Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
How y'all doing today? Tonight, I will say. No, like we already said, welcome to Conscious Life.
Welcome, welcome, welcome,
And
everybody.
we're live. You know.
We live. We live here on Conscious Life tonight. Just doing a few things, getting our new studio set up, guys. Here, our new
Yes.
space set up, so that we can be a little more active, especially bringing more content, more information, and just doing what we do
Yes.
best.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
um, tonight, I think we're just gonna kind of cover exactly how we got into consciousness,
Yes.
and that's what we're here for. So, um, consciousness is a broad variety of things that probably come to mind when we use the word conscious. But quite frankly, when we're talking about conscious, we are relating to that broad set. We're relating to the most infinite and the most macro, the largest scale, the most enormous the longest eon. We're definitely explaining to beyond, above and beyond the edges of the universe, down to the most microscopic, minuscule, smallest atomic, atom or cork or whatever you may want to call it, depending on what field of understanding you're working in right now. But just generally speaking, consciousness does encompass the thought and idea of all things, all
I'll be right back.
creation. All right. And just being aware, quite frankly, awareness in these things. So, why don't I give a little background? So, me, my name is Crystal, obviously, guys. Crystal Chemistry. Crystal is, crystallize your mind, you heard. You already know what it is. So, I'm gonna stop it right there. But, me, pretty much, I got into consciousness sometime back, whew, some time ago. It's been probably about maybe almost 15 years now. So it's been some time. Actually, it might be a little bit more than that, maybe about 17 years. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. The point is, what kind of led me to consciousness was I this was around probably when I was in college, actually a little bit before, but around it when I was in college was really when it peaked and I kind of dived in. But oh, and shout out to my alma mater, Florida A&M, the prestigious, most wonderful HBCU around in town, in the nation, on the globe. Shout outs to the highest of seven hills out here, Florida A&M University. Everybody, make it great, make it great. Okay, doing great things, doing big things. Just wanted to go ahead and, for the Rattler Nation, just wanted to share a little love. Y'all know. But anyway, so yeah, it kind of started then though. I wasn't really, I'm not like a club person and stuff like that. So I used to be home a lot, different things like that. And I found that um, while studying, there were different modalities and herbalisms that would help to kind of heighten and key into cognitive function, memory primarily. And if you're in college, that's definitely something that is useful. So, um, and I don't know your study type. It may be a crammer, it may be more a planner. It just depends. But anywho, I found that for me personally, um, that was kind of where I began to start my conscious journey. So just kind of being overwhelmed with a lot of different finals and papers and just all this. Like it just seemed like, okay, you know what? It seems like there's so much here that's irrelevant. You know what I mean? Like a lot of it is good practice. I think being there and being the social part of schooling or education is the good part. That's probably the best part because we learn best from one another. But it's just like there were things that I engaged in that I learned that were beneficial. Obviously, I don't think education is a bad thing. I think everybody should be educated to some degree, but you definitely need to know the difference in the split between thinking for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and just learning or regurgitating information. So anyway, pretty much, well, not anyway, but anywho. So
Anyhow,
anyhow, anyway, anywho, but yes, so that's kind of again segueing back to where I learned or started kind of delving into consciousness was then. So it was just kind of like, well, why? Started questioning. Got a lot of whys. Well, why am I doing this and why am I doing that? And I'm trying to find, I hadn't declared a major yet, so it was just kind of like, well, why am I doing this and what do I really want to do? Trying to find passion and what it is that I do versus just being mechanical. And so it kind of led me down this path of consciousness. Now, that was just the beginning. Also, shout out to Lauren Hill 2.0 Unplugged and India Irie, Outcast, definitely Dungeon Family for sure. It's just a lot of people that influenced CeeLo comes to mind also. That comes to mind that kind of helped in that transformation for me at least. I'll say rhythmically, just kind of when I'm listening to my music, it's things that started kind of cueing in for me. So it's like, all right, that's cool, all right, like now this makes sense, that makes sense. But it wasn't until you really kind of start taking that deeper look into things to try to understand, what direction you're going in, where you're heading, and really kind of where you want to steer your life. So that is like a brief or long introduction. I was trying to hold the fort down here to kind of how I got into consciousness. And that led me into, well, I'll say later on down the road, maybe about years after that, a few years after that, not too far after that, into herbalisms and a lot of other natural alternatives, I'll say. So, which, hey, nature is the best way to go. Best teacher, best, we are all a part of nature. I don't know if you knew that or not, but we are, if you didn't know. But I'm sure you all know that because we have a conscious community that listens to us. So, we all a part of nature, and just being here, being a part, being one with nature, and kind of learning from the things that you see, the things that you engage with, your experiences, your memories, um, being cognizant, being aware, being conscious, yeah, pretty much of your surroundings, your awareness, and your imprint that you're putting out, your energy you're putting out, your projection you're putting out, because this is something that is continuous. So it's just being conscious of the energy you're putting out, conserving in the right places, disturbing in the other places that may need to be changed, uprooted, destroyed, or left behind, moved on from, and just doing better for yourself in general. So that's kind of where I am and where I found my conscious bit there. And it just is a lifestyle. It's not something that I feel like once you can unlearn. So it's like, you're held accountable for these things, and it's, this is your life, this is your energy, this is your soul. You have things to be accountable for and be responsible for, and nobody else is going to be. It doesn't matter who you want to blame it on. I mean, you can consciously say, this person made me, or this person so and so. But again, at the end of the day, you are only responsible for you and what you have going on. So that's why it's best to be the best tenant of your avatar body that you can be while you're here. Okay. But anyway, honey, you want to tell about how you got started in the conscious community?
Um, well, definitely.
Or what started you on your conscious journey, rather? How did you get started on the journey? What made you be like, this is for me? Or has it always been that way?
Well, I can't say it have been always been or not. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like, and I know for a fact, like I start that journey like back like 2008, 2009 or something like that.
Around the same
Around
time.
that
Mine was
time.
around 2008
So
too.
around that time, like I mean, I
2006.
once I had
Really?
like left the church and stuff like that, I was on a like journey like since like 2004 or something like that. But I didn't know what I was really looking for. I just know I didn't want to be like, in the church no more for some reason.
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, I need to explore. I know how to read. I'm gonna start reading the
That's a
Bible
pivotal point.
more. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And by reading the Bible more, doing more research and studies and stuff, by like, 2008. So I start like I discovered, matter of fact, I discovered Sadhguru
Hmm.
around that time and stuff like that. So I started following for a little bit, listen to what he was saying and stuff. So, and then that gave me like, understanding, where I stand
Hmm.
basically, far as, consciousness, fighting myself and fighting the understanding, between myself, the universe or the creator or whatever,
Hmm.
So I start that time and then, I keep searching, searching. And then, even though I left the church, I was still into people that was in the church. You know what I mean? That was like preaching in the church, you know what I'm saying? Like Reverend
Reverend
Ike and
Ike.
that
I knew
and
you was
all
gonna
that.
say Reverend
Like, yeah,
Ike.
that's my guy. That's my guy right there.
Prosperity teachers.
Yeah. So, and
Law of attraction,
yeah,
definitely.
law of attraction basically. And then,
Mm-hmm.
Bob Crafter,
Mm-hmm.
then I discovered him also. And
Yeah, Bob Proctor, another good one. Yeah,
so
definitely.
yeah, it's a lot of good people, and I I discover, Napoleon Hill at the same time.
Hmm.
So I was doing a
Okay.
lot of research to discover a lot of people, that I was
Spirit was
talking,
leading you
yeah,
down certain
leading me
paths.
down
Definitely,
that
definitely. You was
path
following.
where, like,
Yeah.
where I was getting, introduced to people that's like in this talking about the same thing but in a different way, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And give me like different understanding,
Mm-hmm.
like how to, see things, you know what I'm saying?
Some
How to,
different perspectives and stuff.
yes, consciousness and stuff. And it been since, you know what I mean? I've been doing that since.
It's interesting though that you made a point there about you left when you left the church. I guess it was at the same time you was making that transition from leaving the
Yeah.
church to kind of
Find
finding more consciousness and
yes.
depth in life. And that's similar to me as well because it was kind of like, um, like, yeah, around 2008, I'm thinking it's like, well, no, because it started, like I said, 2006. Really, I kind of started questioning the whole, I guess, hierarchy of the church. And it was kind of like, all right, it was the first time that I was like really kind of on my own, I left home, I was away from home, and it was kind of like, I was raised in church every Sunday. It don't matter what's going on, we going to church. So like, church was not like a foreign concept at all. So it
Yeah.
was just kind of assumed that, when you go away, find a church home, da 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 da. And of course, it's like, all right, yeah, for sure. But when I went away, I had this interesting teacher my very first semester at film. And he was my it was American history. Actually, it was just American history. So talked a lot about different parts of American history, and then world history also. He was a very enthusiastic professor, I'll say. So we delved on a few different topics,
Yeah.
but he talked about world history, and so there became a few. He added some things into his curriculum. Then, well, you had a little more flexibility to kind of really teach, and be a real professor. But
Yeah.
anywho, there were some points in his curriculum that he made to pretty much be a pivotal point of like, okay, the Great Flood, for one. So all I heard about was, excuse me, let me get a little. But all I heard about at that point from then was the ark, Noah's ark. That's kind of the only perspective I had on it was like from the Bible, biblical. But after that, it was kind of like, he was like, no, this was a historical event. People experienced it here, there, da 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 da. It was well documented, and all of this. And it was just kind of like, it was like the sky opened up. I was like, whoa, like, wait a minute, like, all this time I've been thinking this just happened to Noah. No, it didn't just happen to Noah. It happened to everybody all over the world. Like, it's interesting, how sheltered we can be, or how limited in perspective we can be when we're not exposed to different things. This is why exposure is number one. Because it's like if you're never exposed to it, whether you like it or not, you can at least choose then to agree or disagree. But if you've never known, then it's kind of like you can't even pursue it because you've never known and you've never explored it, you've never tried it. So it's like something that's not even in your realm of creation or perspective because it's not it's not in your bubble. You know what I mean? It's not something that you're aware of. It's not in your awareness. Again, with that word awareness, we're gonna have to keep with that. Awareness and consciousness are synonymous.
Yeah.
But anywho, yeah, it's just interesting because that was kind of where it happened for me. So he mentioned that. He mentioned a few other pivotal points that happened in the Bible, and it was kind of like, wait a minute, I need to do some more research. Like, you know what I mean? Like, before I find a church home, let me find out what church is all about. Like, So, and it's sometimes I feel like it's better when you can kind of be away because from family pressures, friend pressures, doesn't matter
That's
where
when
it
you
may
had to
be.
be there. You got something to
Right,
it. Like if you
right.
depend in other stuff, then
You it's it's a magnetism, you know what I mean? And it's just and it's an attraction. It's it's kind of like, okay, so you tend to go birds of a feather flock together. You tend to go where what I mean, things are comfortable and it feels
more familiar. Yeah,
more familiar.
yeah,
Absolutely. So it's like it's just but it was like a stepping outside of the box for me, and I did it alone. I stood on my own, and that was fine with me because I've been that way. Like that's kind of as the person I am, in my signs, my zodiac signs, my astrological, I won't say zodiac, I'll say my astrological signs, but whoever identifies with whatever you identify with, as long as you know the cosmos is real and the stars are up there, we're good. So, and you got a telescope because we got a few in here. We got about three. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But
yeah.
so, yeah, point being, um, it just gave a different perspective for me, and I found that is, yeah, it's there's more. So started researching a lot more, really kind of got into understanding, and like I mentioned,
Hmm.
music is always a big thing. Like it leads you to different ideas. Music is a way of communication. It's a way of raising your vibration or lowering your vibration,
Yeah,
changing your frequency is what I'll say.
that's
So
one thing.
it's a way to enlighten yourself or to not. So I just happened to, again, I was led to, energetically led to different things and and I was exposed to those because
Hmm.
growing up, I have an older sister
Yeah,
who's a few years older than me, and she was literally like, that was like the pocket, like 90s music, like like that was smashing. That's all I heard when I had to go to when she had to take me to school or drop me off at camp or anything like that, like it was like that's what I was listening to. So a lot of these vibes are really just vibes that I was young at the time, but it just so happened. So shout out to my older sister too. She was conscious and it is very conscious also. It was back then and put me on some things that she may not even be aware of just by being in her sphere of communication and being close in relation and relevance. So anywho, in
yeah.
vicinity. But yeah, so it's something that I think everybody should experience as far as being on their own at some point,
Hmm.
because I feel like you don't get a chance to really express yourself and think for yourself until you're at least on your own for some things. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you can always have a helpline, a hotline if you need help, different things like that. Of course, I'm saying keep your support system for sure.
And when
You
you get
definitely
older
need it.
too, I think when you get older, you can experience, like do all the research than what you normally do as a kid. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. Yeah.
Like, thank God, like I didn't have to basically. I didn't thank God. I mean, I'm not saying thank God like it's a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like I didn't raise in the church.
Hmm.
I went to a Christian school,
Hmm.
but I didn't raise in a house that's like
Where you
90.
from, babe?
You know what I mean? I'm from Haiti. One lago na Haiti,
Hey,
Neguapen, one
suck
tambula,
passe.
na bule.
Hey.
Yeah, so I didn't grow up in a household where I have to go to church. You know what I mean? Every Sunday. I mean, even though I go to church, you know what I mean. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying. Like, say my mom go to the church or whatever, and for some reason they have some going on at the church, for the school kids and stuff like that. I have to be there, but that's like one of the big issues they used to have with me because what I mean, I skip. They send me to church. I go and do all the stuff. But before that, like I was into home belief and stuff like that. I mean, African spirituality. So I got introduced to that. You know what I'm saying? But when
What's
I,
African spirituality,
what I
babe?
mean, it's based. It could be voodoo. Ifa. You know what I'm saying? Like and stuff like that. Or uh, chemistry or whatever. We can say that also, what I mean, from Kemet. So all this was part of the science. So it's like get an understanding of the African science, basically, I would say. You know what I mean? And I had a little bit of study on that too, because I'm from, in one of the countries that do African spirituality, you know what I
Hmm.
mean, or African science and stuff. So, but when I get to America, that was the norm. Everybody go to church. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
let's say I'm not saying not everybody. Let's
it's so your
say
spirituality back home was more so
based in, you know what I mean, African
African
spirituality.
spirituality,
You know what I mean?
and here it's, I mean, it's intertwined, few and far in between, because obviously we all know that the Bible is based on, African script, but at the same time, it's uh, you know, anyway,
You know, like
I mean, you
that.
see, now I'm about to say this is
It
why we got to
it just
we got to do
crazy
more
though
lives, y'all,
because
because this is about to get real long, and we can't be here all night. You know what I mean? We got to wait till YouTube recognizes what's going on and really give us a little leverage, because YouTube, come on, man, come on, we
yes,
friends, we not foes, we friends, bruh. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Come on. So, anywho, but it is what it is, algorithmically.
But like it is though. I mean, yeah. I mean,
My bad.
it is what it is.
I was trying to make a little play
Yeah.
on your words and name, but
Yeah. So coming to America is like a different thing. You know what I mean? Like far as religious goes. You know what I mean? Religious or spirituality
I thought
goes.
you was about to talk about Eddie Murphy. You said coming to America.
And
So
that the
anywho,
movie, but me coming
yo,
to
real life
America.
coming
You
to
know what I mean?
America,
Like me
definitely.
coming to America.
Yeah,
Coming to America one. You know what
definitely.
I
I'm
mean?
just playing with you. I'm just talking.
But at the same time, like when you come, when I came, you know what I mean, in 2001, like I was surprised, by the things that I was hearing, like African spirituality. It was just like a thing, like even yourself, you feel like, damn, I never know, things would die bad, but you like,
Oh yeah, no, they don't like voodoo over here. Voodoo is really frowned upon. It's like a
like,
really scary, like bad kind of like, you know what I mean? First of all, now this is another thing. This is why well education, because I was into voodoo far belong before I met this guy here. Well, a few years. I won't say far, but maybe about 3 years before I met him. I was already into African spiritualities. I study everything, so it's not, just to kind of get a well-rounded perspective so I can make my own decisions. I like to I like to be exposed to everything, because I do feel like my will is strong enough to, you know, accept or reject what aligns and what doesn't. If you don't feel like you're strong enough to do that just yet, then I would say, explore little by little. You know what I mean? Take your time with it. Don't rush into it, because you might see some things that scare you and then it turns you off, and then it's a whole process. So just imagine you've been programmed for 20, 30, 40, however old you are. You've been programmed for this amount of years, right? It's going to take you, or possibly it could. It doesn't have to. I mean, you could turn around in a day, but it's possibly going to take you. It's a process. You know what I mean? And that would be a spontaneous awakening. But I mean, I know even for me, it was a process. But that's not saying that for you, it can't be. It could be overnight for you. But deprogramming is definitely, it's a process. You have to kind of unlearn what you do. Not even kind of. You have to unlearn everything, or different things, not everything, because you're based, there are things. See, this is why it's so difficult, because it's almost like planting nightshade with
mm-hmm.
like potatoes.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna plant something poisonous with something good that you want to eat, and it's like, I don't know, like, obviously when they're sprouting, you can tell, they're growing, but it's kind of like, you don't plant good with bad. It's just not that's not how this goes. We know, just from natural law, that's not how things go. So what you doing? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I
Got
mean,
some viewers. Okay, hello viewers. How are you? But
yeah, definitely. I mean, like it's just crazy though, like because like even in the church, like say somebody in the church, right? Um, I mean, this life is not about church or religion, none of this stuff. But
I mean, this is
like,
about how we found
yeah,
consciousness. So
it
how
it
do we find consciousness?
it just
How did consciousness find you?
it just like how you look at the church, right? They tell you to be scared of African spirituality, right? And
Not just the church though. See, this is a
not just
conglomerate.
the
It's
people,
like
say
it comes
people,
from everywhere.
people,
It's
okay.
It's a
and
general consensus. It's in Hollywood.
but
It's on television.
that's what I'm
It's
saying,
everywhere,
because
and it's
Hollywood
deeply embedded from
Hollywood is
years
what
beyond. Like it's been here.
yeah, Hollywood is what basically
They
brainwash people.
perpetuate it,
You know what I mean? To
programmed it.
program people to scared of their own, you know what I mean, spirituality, so they can, you know what I mean, forget who they really are. You know what I mean? Just like they did before doing slavery, you know what I mean? Somebody watching your sermon so you don't tell the people saying the truth or whatever they tell you, strict to the strict, you know what I mean? Strict to the script.
Stick to the
Stick
stick
to
to
the
the
script,
script.
you know what I'm saying? So they do that. But say somebody cast the Holy Ghost in the church, right? They call it the Holy Ghost, right? The only ghost they catching is their grandmas, great grandmas, ancestral Holy Ghost. That's what they catching in the church.
You see, well, my thing is,
You know
I
what I
feel
mean?
like, yeah, of course, because the thing is, we are our ancestors. So when you look at your lineage, if you think all the way back, like all the way back, all the way back. If think as far back, because I feel like this is kind of the problem with people to begin with, or not a problem, but it's a challenge that people have. Us as people in general, is not thinking far enough back. See, because if we could think back, then we could think forward.
Hmm.
So it's like, okay, this is cyclical. It's all a cycle. So it's just kind of like we don't want to go far enough back, and we miss a portion of that cycle. So now instead of a cycle, it's a sickle. It's just a piece of it. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? We need you want to. Well, I guess a sickle at the bottom. Well, no, yeah, because it just depends. This comes to a point. Anyway, getting into geometry and other things. But anyway, that doesn't matter. But so at least right now at this point, I'm gonna come back to that in my own personal studies. But it's like this is a cycle. So you're missing certain things in that little piece there. So my only part, or I guess my only issue with that is when you're trying to think about completion and you're missing some things.
Hmm.
Well, then what?
You go back and look for the right pieces to complete it.
You do. It's like a puzzle, but at the same time, that's where we're missing. It's like people not looking for those missing pieces, if you get what I'm saying.
Hmm.
Like people are okay kind of where we are, and it's like, and I get that because there's so many stresses of today, and really your focus is really, and this is why attention span and memory matter, because your focus is here and right now,
Hmm.
which matters because creation happens right now. You're constantly creating, constantly giving out, constantly receiving. You are a constant transmitter, a constant receiver. You're out here giving and receiving constantly.
Hmm.
So it's best to be conscious of what and how you're giving, and what and how you're receiving things as well. Just as conscious again. It's a cycle. But people, we don't look far enough back, because if we go far enough back, then we can look and say, okay, you know, this person, let's say my grandparents, okay, or my parents. Let's start from the base, from my parents, then my parents' parents, okay, and then my parents' parents. Now I don't remember them per se. I know names. Then let's go to my parents' parents, and my parents' parents, and my parents' parents, parents. Let's just try to think about that. And so I know some people probably lost already. Like, oh shoot, I don't know none of them people. Da da da. But that just forget about not knowing. You don't need to know. Just think about connection, just where you come from specifically. All these people that helped to make you who you are today, just from lines and lineages, just from people from here and there. We don't know where these people are. We don't know where they came from. Some people do. Some people keep a very detailed record of their ancestry. But
Hmm.
it just so happens, I know here in America that wasn't the case. So I do personally happen to know a few generations back for my family, and I know at least about four, and I know we've been here. So just to put that in the air, what I mean, we had land in Florida for a long time, but maybe
Lineage.
yeah, we've been here. So that's anyway. Um, but it's just you know, when you don't go far enough back, you end up missing things, and you end up missing that connection. And I feel like that's how we've been duped as a people, with not being so conscious, like, and
Hmm.
not being, not not wanting to be conscious. I guess I was trying to think of another word, but yeah, just not wanting to be conscious. It's like there are a lot of people, I think, now at this turn within the last maybe about 2012, from 2012 to about 2015, 2016, we've seen a big uptick, up spark, you know what I mean, in different things in the conscious community, as far as, well, as far as, just people being aware and wanting to be more conscious, people wanting to be more aware, people wanting this information. And that's again part of the awakening. But um it's, or even part of the quickening these days. But it's something that is a necessity. It's supposed to be, and is something that is necessary, because otherwise is it ends up being like, we just living in the moment. And living in the moment is cool, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean, sometimes.
Yeah.
But there's also other times where you need to reflect and think back. Then there's also other times that you need to think forward and progress. So everything has its season, everything has its time. um but it's just, you know remembering that full cycle, so that you can always kind of, you know like, okay, so think back far enough, even, okay, your parents, so okay, these people you're calling on, or even these energies, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
again, you don't know
You're
names,
chilling on it.
but
Yeah.
you're calling on energy, you know what I mean, you're calling on a specific energy that you are associated with,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously we're all connected in one way, shape, form, or another. But you're calling on a specific energy that you may be in line or aligned with, because of your specific genetic ability. Let's
Yeah,
say.
like piggyback to what you're saying, babe. I was watching
Wait, hold on. They say piggy bank.
the piggyback,
Piggyback.
piggyback, piggyback to what you're saying, babe. Piggyback. It's
Yes.
piggyback. Uh, I was just about what you're saying about the lineage, the family, whatever, grandparents, parents. I was literally like, I think a day ago, I was listening to a short about the same thing. Like, think about you being here right now, like, and think about the first two-person who got together to make your two parents, or they first people. I don't know who made them. Whoever made them. The first two people.
All the
Let's
way
say
back.
let's say we start there.
Mm-hmm.
How many wars, racism, slavery, you know what I mean,
Programming.
programming,
Mm-hmm.
disease, you know what I mean, nature, you know what I mean, hurricanes, floods, and all this stuff. We here right now because they survived.
Absolutely. Made it through.
There's people that grew up with them
Mm-hmm.
who probably were sisters, uncles, cousins, you know what I mean, merchant, whatever, who they names not still here.
Mm-hmm.
Through
May have
them,
never even been
through
written
these
anywhere.
people, through them, they still alive.
Mm-hmm.
Through us who live here.
Definitely.
The first two people who got together and said, let's come together and have kids or whatever, you know what I mean, populate the earth, whatever. We are them today. Whether we know it or
Whether we were
like it
seeded, or
or
whether people
understand it
placed
or
us
not.
here, or whether we was
And
genetically modified,
and
or
whatever they believe in, that same DNA passed through us. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
We might reject it. You know what I mean? We not might not know. We might not understand. But these people, whatever they went through, still with us to this day. Those memories, those who store themselves in our their DNAs and stuff like that, they passed all these things to us. They trauma, you know what I mean, the worst, the good times, and all everything. You know what I'm saying? So we, like you said, we don't think far enough. You know what I mean?
We are the residue from the
From
beginning
the
of
beginning
time.
of time, like,
That's it. Like, that's
you know what I'm
kind of
saying?
it in a nutshell. Yes.
So whoever, when God was created the air, the world, God or whoever they call names you want to call God, whatever, you know what I mean, creator, those DNA still here. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like,
Definitely.
those DNA still
And
here,
just think back far enough,
and we're
and
not
you'll see that.
going far enough. You know
That's
what I
it.
mean?
You can see all the connections in anything if you think back far enough. I mean, even just people, even, I mean, I know it's a lot of people, even, we've been here, but there's people that we can obviously say at one point, perhaps this earth may everything have been together, Pangea, or Pan-Africanism, prior to everything breaking up, our Pan-Africanism, I'm sorry, Pangea.
Gia. Hey, shout out to the Pan
Hey,
Africanism
definitely,
though,
definitely,
man.
big shouts,
Yeah,
big
man.
shouts, y'all, big shouts. But yeah, it's just, if you think back far enough, you can think back to a time when we were all connected. If you can think back that far, or
Mhm.
if you're looking for it, is another thing. So that's another thing. What are you looking for personally? Because if you're looking to be separate, then you're gonna find separation. But
Mhm.
if you're looking for that connection, that's what you'll find. But again, oftentimes you have to kind of delve back deep enough to kind of see these things so that you know exactly what it is, where it is, and why it is.
Mhm.
But
Definitely.
yeah, that consciousness, that's it. Like we are, if you just think back far enough, it's kind of like we all lead back to the same resolution. Like
Yep.
we all one. We're all from the same creation, the same creators, the same cousins of uncles and aunties, and like it's just we are all the same people. So it's best to be kind. It's best to be, in high spirits at all
Harmony.
possible, in harmony with one another. It's best to put off the most positive projection, the best self that you have, the best foot forward, the best everything. It's better to be, it's better to go about life that way, I'll say,
Mhm.
versus not, because consciously, that's kind of the world that we live in. And I know it's easy to separate. We like to do that, especially with, when it comes to us with different colors, creeds, races,
Mhm.
sexualities, anything. It's always a pull and a separation. And the thing is, my thing is, I don't really care what anybody else is doing. I mean, if it ain't my life, I care as far as we're connected, but I don't care enough to pass judgment and be like, I think this should happen for these people. It ain't my life. I'm not living it. I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? Let people be happy. As long as you're not hurting, harming, killing somebody else, then what are we arguing about? Like, why is this a thing? You see, our attention is being drawn to places that isn't relevant. So I think, once we can kind of um realize that as a people, which we're awakening to now. People are starting to realize that. People are starting to wake up and kind of get that. And I think that now it's like, and we do have a few people that have kind of pulled in the forefront and are making consciousness cool, which I love. This is a great thing. You know what I mean? But now is the time for everybody to kind of step up and be one, and really recognize again the power from within, and know that this is the time where we have to not only not only be curious. You want to be curious, but you want to also be practical, and you want to be applicable. You want to try to apply some of these things. Don't just hear. It's better to not, everybody knows it's not good to tell a lie, but don't just say, oh, it's not good to lie, learn that, and then go and still tell a whole bunch of lies. Like, try to apply some of this stuff to your life, you know what I mean, and see if it makes a difference. Just try it, try it and see what happens. But karma is real, so don't be surprised if it don't happen for you right away. If that's
Mhm.
been what you've been doing all your life, it may take a minute to kind of get out that cycle, and get some new things coming through. But just don't be deterred. Be consistent. Be persistent. Um, yeah, regardless of what obstacles you may face, or what time challenges you may face, whatever it may
Mhm.
be, just be persistent. Be consistent. Don't ever give up, because once you give up, it's already over.
Claro,
So
infinitos.
yes.
Fini.
So um, I think that this has been
This.
a very informative live, very
Yes.
informational, I believe. But yeah, my lasting impression, I just want everybody to kind of remember from this very first, I guess, well, it's not our very first live. We did try one before this, but this live is to kind of just remember that you do have the power within you. That's why you're here. If you did not have power, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be listening right now. You wouldn't, none of these things, you wouldn't be in existence. So you're in existence today quantumly because there's some power there. There's some energetic interference going on that's talking to each other that created you. Okay. There's a disturbance. There's you. Okay. And you're here to do just that. Things in this world they try to make seem so normal are not that normal, and we are known as disturbers. Understand? So do what you're supposed to do. Understand how you're supposed to understand. Try things, try new things, try understanding in a way that may be um a, a broader, or even maybe a more focused perspective. Kind of change things up a little bit. It depends on where you are with it. But we here. reach out if you have any questions. Definitely leave a comment, like, subscribe, share. Thank you for listening. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we'll be back soon. Trying to do, or going to do rather. Ooh, Lord,
Well,
where's this
schedule.
trying? Trying is. Let me get that out there. I don't know where trying has been coming
We
from
matter of
lately. That
fact
is
go on
a few times,
schedule,
like
and we'll make sure we
second time.
let y'all know when we're going live again, and put some on the YouTube or Facebook, social media. So whoever be watching us and
Friday
watching
Night
our video,
Live.
yeah, so we're gonna we will make sure that we give you a thumbs up,
Or
or
should we do
you know what
Thursdays?
I mean, well, a thumbs up when we're going live,
Turn on your
so
notifications also, everybody, so that you know when
definitely,
we're
so
going live.
because we're gonna schedule the lives and stuff like that, so you know exactly when they're gonna pop up. So just stay tuned.
See, you like the schedule. I would like to just pop up and
I
be
think
like, hey, we live.
I think we'll make sure everybody have like times, like to come,
That's kind.
you know.
Definitely.
So
Very respectable.
yes,
I
we
like it.
don't just
I
wanna
love it.
pop up on people and expect them to be here waiting on us and stuff like that. So we
I mean, we don't
basically,
expect them to be here,
you
but
know,
we share the information when you
definitely,
can, when you get
definitely.
inspired,
But
when spirit
since
speaks,
we're going
and you
live
share it.
and we need
And
live
people always can catch the
interaction,
replay. If you don't catch it on the live, catch the replay.
and
We're
and,
here.
and we also want your live interactions, with the channel and with us also, in the
We get questions in
in the
person,
comment, you know what I'm
but
saying,
leave a comment,
in the
y'all.
yeah, leave a
Don't be
comment in
afraid to
the
leave a
chat,
comment. It's
in the
okay. Leave
comment,
a comment because
so
everybody else has the same or similar questions that you do. I promise. So
definitely,
just leave a comment. If you got a question, leave a question, and we'll get to it. We definitely working.
because we
Slow
really
and
want to,
steady wins the race.
yeah, because
Is
we
what
really
I
want to
say.
be, interact with, what I mean, with y'all. So
Authenticity also wins the race.
definitely. So the more, if y'all be here, and while we're here, we can talk and y'all can give us, what I mean, tell us what y'all thinking or how y'all feel and stuff like that. We can respond, and if you have questions also while we live, we can also respond, you know. Yeah, so that's why I feel like, you know, y'all should really like turn on, you know what I mean? Because like it's gonna be turning up. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely,
Stay turned
definitely.
on because it's gonna be turning up. Because like it been a long time, since we're trying to do this live. So definitely we're gonna keep the live going. We're gonna have a lot more to talk about. Today was just an introduction, you know what I mean, to the things that
It's
we're
too
going,
much to talk about. Lord,
like
do we have enough tape? Do we have enough time? Is there enough streaming? Is there enough cloud? Sure, it is. It's enough everything.
so yeah, I
Abundance.
mean, definitely. Conscious Life is your platform. You know what I mean? We do this for all of us. You know what I mean? Not just for us. We're just sharing the information that we learn or the
Definitely.
experiences that we have. You know what I mean? The things that not to be afraid of checking. You know what I mean? Because hey, if you don't check, I mean, like say you went to school, they only give you one book for the whole, 12 years you spend in school. Like, you feel me? You just know just about that one book. You know what I mean? That's why, like, within that spend of time, they give you multiple books, you know what I mean, to read and people to know about whatever, because that's the subject that they teach in school. It's just the same way as life, you know what I mean? Just because if you're religious, you know what I mean, doesn't mean you cannot check nothing else.
Come
Because
on.
like you have to know what you're dealing with out here. You know what I mean? It's so many things out here. You have to know, okay, where you can know where your battle's gonna be at. You know what I'm saying? So, like they say, if you don't know your enemy, how you gonna fight? You know what I'm saying? So, and
That part.
and you have to know basically, you know what I mean? Don't be scared to check stuff about the Buddhists, you know what I mean? The
Anything,
Muslim,
the
the Islam, the
Hindus, and
Hindus, you know what I
I mean,
mean?
I do say check that with caution. If you're not ready, don't, you know what I mean? It's nothing to be afraid of, obviously. But another thing to kind of keep in mind is when you are checking out things, you don't have to accept things, people.
No, not at
Okay? You
all.
don't have to accept
Not
everything.
at all.
It's okay to just observe. It's okay to just look. Just looking
Let me
here.
see what this
That's
about.
it. Just
You know what I
looking.
mean?
Just,
Like
Oh, okay.
it's just like food, people testing food all the time. You can test knowledge.
Definitely. It's the same way. You're like, I don't like that. Okay, nope. Hey, oh, I like this. I like that. That aligns. That doesn't. It's just kind of finding connections. That's kind of what we're all doing here. We're all just finding connections. What aligns with us? What energy is stronger? What frequency we can bring through to the highest? And we're operating in that. So operate in your highest self. You know what I mean? Don't let any denomination or religion or whatever it may be, hold you down or hold you back or whatever it may be from exploring true consciousness. Because I know oftentimes in religion, it gets passed off to kind of have someone else think for you and have someone else be in charge of your salvation and your saving and all of this stuff. You know what I mean? And what you learn, which also just is an interesting point, that Christianity wasn't around when Jesus was here, which
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I
so
mean?
just interesting. But and neither was the J.
Everything is
But
man made.
just um it's just not, there's so much more out here to the world, and you have the power within yourself to accept or deny whatever it may be that you're presented with. So if you find something uncomfortable that you don't like, then just deny that from your consciousness for now. And you may come back later and find out that it relates to something else, a few months, a few days, a few
Hmm.
years down the road, and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't see it that way. So just don't be afraid to expose yourself to different things. Don't be afraid of the cosmos. All right. It's here, it's
Signs and
nature.
symbols.
It's
Don't be
nature.
afraid.
Don't be afraid of
You can,
signs. Don't be afraid of symbols. No symbol by itself can hold,
yeah.
a
Don't
power
be
of
afraid of the
one or the
sun, the
other
moon, the
side of energy.
stars,
Like, just
the planets. We should know
everything has
all
the
that.
power that you emote to it. Okay.
Definitely.
So it's
Definitely.
it's time, y'all. It's time. We coming out of hibernation. It's time to come out. We've been, we haven't been sleeping, but we have definitely been enjoying.
Napping.
We haven't been napping.
No?
Nah,
Okay, we've been dozing off.
nah. We haven't been doing any of that. We've been actively aware and awake. However, we have not been sharing dutifully.
Oh, not us. I
Um,
thought you were talking about the world.
okay, my bad. So yeah, the world has been sleeping. So it's time.
Oh, but
Yes,
we're up. We're up. Yeah,
yeah,
we
we
are.
up. But
We
it's
are.
just, it's time to I believe in divine timing. I am a divine nature of person, and divine timing is always on my side. So now is the time. Timing is always relative wherever you are, in whatever space you're living in, whatever
Definitely.
place you're living in. Go in your timing. Don't let people or things rush you, or the perception of things moving so fast around you change your personal timing. Go on your time,
Hmm.
go on your frequency, go on what feels natural to you, what feels good to you, and the energy will support you. The universe is here to support. Okay, pronoia, everybody, pronoia. Not paranoid, pro noia. Okay. The universe is here to support you in everything you do for the best, for the highest, for the good of us all. All right. So make sure you incorporate that in your daily affirmations as well. Whatever you're affirming for the goodness and greatness of everybody involved. Okay. All spirits, things involved. All right. So highest energy,
Hmm.
highest for all of us, everybody. It's good for you as well. It's good for me, but it's good for all of us. So if we can include everybody, we can get that network popping. You know what I mean? Even more popping than it is. So it's just it's good to be here. Good to be back.
Yes.
Whenever we pop in or whenever we don't, it is what it is. But yeah, the consistency is real. It's a necessity, and it's something that we're here for. All right. Good night, everybody. It's time to go ahead and take it in for the night. So, y'all be safe. Y'all stay aware, stay alert, stay up, stay conscious. Do get a little rest, when necessary, not to be burned out.
Yes.
But otherwise, stay creative. Stay lovely. Stay in love. Stay being loved. Stay
Happy.
loved.
Yes.
Stay it all. All right. Stay
Definitely.
kind. Stay joyful. Stay stay up, y'all. Stay up.
Stay up.
All right.
Like the ancestors used to say back in the day. Bon la ligne.
Bolaline.
All right.
All right. Later, y'all. All right.